So, well, my family and I were on a short day trip. Well, it was overnight trip. We came back to realize that we had a chicken that was eating eggs. We're not sure which one. The last time we had a chicken eating eggs, it was easy. We found one with egg all over her beak. So we quarantined her off from the rest and was hoping that this behavior didn't get passed on to it. A lot of people say, hey, when they're eating eggs, all you have to do is replace make sure that they're getting enough oyster shells or other sources of calcium. Well, I know this wasn't a problem for ours because we have a little dish in there, and there was lots of oyster shells in there. How I think it happened, I can't guarantee this, but it's what I suspect, is since I've been starting a new compost bin, we had a lot of empty eggshells just down in the bottom of it that I didn't crush up and make sure that I get turned in, and the chickens had been out running around playing in it. They've never bothered it before, but this time I noticed some of them were pecking at the shells in there, and I think that's what set it off and got them going on this eating rampage. I have an idea of what chicken it was, but I can't guarantee it. And I only have that idea because of something I did today, well, last night, to try to remedy the problem. And that was change the way that the bins work. If you look in some of my older videos, I have the bin that I used to paint pan to kind of get them to roll away a little bit from the chickens. The idea was we didn't have to go in there, and hopefully they were far enough away from the chickens the idea would never come across their brain to try to eat it. Well, apparently that didn't work entirely, but I also changed up a little bit on the pans without thinking about potential consequences. The rolling thing hadn't really worked that well to begin with, because the slope on the pans wasn't that steep. I mean, it was enough that it would roll away, but the way that the pan fit in there, the chickens could still easily pull the eggs up underneath them. And we had a couple hens go broody that they did do that. They would just reach down with their head and pull the egg up in. One of the other issues is the carpets that we put in there. They would get just gross from chicken poop. And so I thought, let me try these mats that they have, and I'll take out the carpet and I'll put the mat in. I'll give a shot of the mat. What I found is the chickens just kind of tore it up, and it made it so the eggs hardly ever rolled down to the bottom of the paint pan. So I'm kind of stepping back and rethinking my nesting box and thinking, how can I try to get the egg away from the chicken before she has an opportunity to try to eat it? Because the other chickens will learn this behavior from them, and before you know it, you have a whole coop of eating them. So last night, an attempt to make sure that it didn't happen this morning was semi-successful, and I'll give you a quick look at what I did and what my plan is to do right now to remedy the situation. So I'm going to go show you inside my hen house. Hopefully it's light enough. Previously, as I said, we were using these paint pans with the carpet in there, and as you can see, this carpet is just getting really tore up from just the poop that's going in there, and it's hard to clean out. So what I thought I would try to use is these mats inside of there. But what happens is, as the chickens start to use the mats, they start to flare up like that. And this is and that's another one. This is the box where we were noticing that the eggs were getting eaten the most. So last night I pulled them out and I put in these boards that lean a lot more dramatically than the paint pans do, so they tend to roll more. And I just put those there so they had something to go on. But as you can see, they're already getting tore up. Normally this is completely full of eggshells, but my son decided to help me add some grit So I'm going to mix this back in. But that's where their eggshell, or not eggshell, but oyster shell container is. And generally speaking, that stays pretty full. I also put it in their feed as well, just so they can get little bits of it as they come through. So as I said, I don't really think it's a lack of calcium, but I think it was, they discovered it and now she's interested in it. So I'm going to come around to where we get the eggs, which is just right over here. So this is the back where we get our eggs out of the bin. Previously it had the paint pan and the eggs would roll down to this area right here and we could retrieve them. And that worked okay. But as I showed, the carpet got way poopy and everything. It also wasn't much of a slope, so it was easy for the birds to retrieve it. So last night I hurried and did this with those boards to make it a little more dramatic, and I was hoping this edge between the two would also deter the chicken from being able to reach in and get it. And just for an overnight experiment, it worked really well. I came out this morning just to check on it, and the door was shut down like this, but it was sitting there popping like this, just ever so gently. I was like, what is going on? And I looked in, and there was a chicken trying to get to the egg, but it was down here, and she couldn't reach it with her beak. So now I'm actually going to take this idea one step further. I'm going to remove this board right here, which will be really easy to do. And then I'm going to come down here and cut the bottom out in about 2 inches. And I'm going to build a little pocket that I'm just going to screw right down here to the bottom. I'm going to build it out of 1x because I have a whole bunch of that. And for the piece to go on the bottom, I have some more of this plywood that's the same width. And so I just plan on using that. And I'm hoping by having that extra pocket in, well, it's going to be about 1.5 inches because it's not really 1x, it's 2x2. I'm hoping by doing that, it should be enough to stop the chicken from coming in and getting to the egg. I hope it stops it completely, but you just never know what's going to happen. If the one that is eating eggs starts deciding that she's not going to lay her egg in here just so she can have it, I might have to go further to investigate this and put up a camera. But anyway, this video is mainly going to focus on building this pocket. I also might edit the length of these so they're more lined up and they slide up a little bit better, but today I'm just going to focus on building that pocket and then probably adjust those pieces after. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on that and show you the minor updates as I go along. So darkness came before I could have a time to do much more. Between kids and other responsibilities, I got delayed today, but this is going to be the pocket that comes down. This 2x2 is going to be the part that goes toward the back. It's going to do basically the supporting of most of the weight on this. This piece is just going to come up in the front to create the pocket and help hold it from drooping on that part. But I'm hoping this depth will be just enough to keep the eggs out of the reach of the chickens and away from their beaks. To cut it, I hope I have enough light over here. I don't think I do. Let me see, I'll bring a flashlight. So to cut it out, like I said I was going to do, what I ended up doing was adjusting my skill saw so it would just barely cut past. And I think it might have put a small groove in the wood that you could see there. And I put the rip fence on it and held it to the outside and held it upside down and cut it. I was originally thinking about using my reciprocating saw, but I decided that that would actually be more work than just doing that, and that actually worked out pretty great. So I'm gonna go screw that base together and then screw it up here, and I should have this done really quickly. So I'm almost done. I got the pockets installed and you can see it right there. There's the difference. So when that rolls off, it's gonna be down deeper, where I think it'll be harder for the chicken to actually get its head at and poke at. We shall see. If not, I might have to extend it down by a whole 2x4, which might be a little bit harder to do. But now I'm gonna just go ahead and put the door back on and probably call it a night. Well, and put the actual slope things back in and then call it a night. So to make the slopes inside of the nesting boxes, what I've decided to do is cut this board down on about a 22-degree angle. That will make it fit straight and a lot better inside of the nesting box itself. And then to make it the slope not so bad, I put this 1x2 down at the bottom, and when everything fits in the nesting box, it fits just nice and flush. I have one in this one right here to show. That's how they fit in there. And I've been trying to figure out what I'm gonna do, because I really don't like these mats. I had another egg eaten just because they do make it a comfortable nesting spot, but it prohibits it from rolling down into the back piece that I made. So I think I'm gonna go back and use this carpet. It didn't seem to bother them too much, but I'm gonna make it so I can easily remove it to clean off the poop as it slowly accumulates. It doesn't get too bad inside the nesting boxes because they don't spend too much time in there. During the winter they spend more because they cozy up. So what I'm gonna do is just put it up on top here. Oh, I should put that off. What I'm gonna do is put up on top here, and then I'm gonna put a board over the top of it right here and just drill it down. The little edge isn't gonna bother them too much, but then what I can do is just pull those screws and take the carpet off and clean it out. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that and get the rest of these in place. Footage that I had previously done with me making the adjustments to my eggs hauler in for my nesting boxes. So I want to hurry and go back and kind of remake those parts. I don't remember what they were because it's been a while. Yeah, life gets busy and I sometimes forget where I am in the middle of some of the stuff that I've been shooting. So I'm gonna hurry and wrap up this chicken coop video, and it has been about a month since I previously started making it. So as explained in the clip just before I explained that I lost some footage, I took a board and drilled it down on top of the carpet, and that keeps it into place. Right now it's worked out really well. I have taken them off and cleaned them. It looks like I need to do it again. But what I've been seeing a lot more is a lot of feathers. It's getting into the winter time and my chickens are molting, so they're also decreasing in their egg production. But that actually works out fairly well, and it's really easy to go in to change, and the eggs don't get caught up on these green mats like they did on the other mats that I had. And so far since we switched over this system, we haven't had any eggs that have been eaten, and it's worked out really well. One other thing we had to do, and I'll show inside the nesting box, so we had to come in and put some padding right down here above a board that was there, and this padding right here, because the eggs were coming off too fast and we were seeing little cracks in them. So I did it over here and then over there. The other thing is these are a little bit trickier to clean out than when they weren't as deep, but overall I do like the improvement, and it seemed to have solved the problem that we've been wanting to solve. So that's the wrap up on the adjustments I made to our hen house. It's worked out great to keeping the chickens from eating the eggs, and overall I think it's even working pretty good to help keep it from being as dirty, because it seems like all their poop rolls down to the bottom and we can clean it out a lot easier. They don't seem to be smashing it up as much. I do like that I can still pull those out and reuse them again and again until I guess they eventually fall apart. But I think it was reasonable, and overall it was a great adjustment. I'd like to thank all you who have been subscribing and watching this channel along. The last couple weeks I've seen a huge bump in views and subscriptions, so thank you. If you continue to find what I'm doing interesting or even useful, please like it, subscribe, and share with those who may also be interested in the information that I provide. Until the next video, which shouldn't be too far away, thank you.